Honda just detonated the rulebook, 5 brand new motorcycles for 2026, and none of them look like the Hondas you remember. The chrome is gone, the nostalgia erased, and what's left feels almost rebellious. This isn't about honoring the past. It's about burning it down and building something sharper. Older riders call it betrayal. Younger ones call it progress. But who inside Honda pushed this transformation? And what's the hidden reason behind it? Stay till the end, because the final bike on this list proves this isn't evolution. It's the start of a revolution already in motion. Number 5. Honda Shadow Phantom. Some machines do not chase trends, they outlast them. The Shadow Phantom returns for 2026 with the same low-slung defiance that first earned it respect among riders who prefer steel over spectacle. It is still a motorcycle that carries itself with quiet confidence, sitting low, running smooth, and reminding everyone that sometimes less truly is more. This new version keeps the stance familiar, but sharpens the edges where it counts. Smoother fueling, tighter geometry, and a finish that feels forged, not polished. The first time you throw a leg over the Shadow, it greets you with honesty. The seat feels natural, the reach to the bars balanced, and the bike's center of gravity sits so low that maneuvering it through a tight driveway feels effortless. For men who have been riding since carburetors were common, that ease matters. There is no menu screen to scroll through, no endless set of modes to cycle between. It is one key, one ignition, one throttle. Simplicity becomes strength. Out on the open road, the Phantom hums with a rhythm that feels familiar but refined. The exhaust note is deep without being loud, a steady thrum that rolls beneath your jacket like a heartbeat you can match your breathing to. It is not trying to impress, it is trying to endure. The torque comes early and smooth, enough to pull through traffic or climb a country grade without a downshift. Fifth gear feels steady, predictable, and built for those who have nothing to prove to the next lane over. Visually, the Shadow carries itself like a veteran. The matte finishes, blacked-out engine cases, and minimal chrome make it look more like a tool than a toy. Honda left the clutter behind and focused on the shapes that matter. The teardrop tank, the chopped fenders, the clean line from headlight to rear axle. Every piece seems designed by someone who knows the value of restraint. The result is a bike that looks timeless parked next to machines twice its price. Where the Phantom surprises older riders is in comfort. The low seat keeps both boots planted flat, giving confidence even to those who have spent years on taller cruisers. The mid-mounted pegs offer a neutral position, allowing long rides without back strain. At highway speed, the engine hums steadily with minimal vibration through the bars. It feels solid, centered, and ready for another 100 miles at the turn of a key. Maintenance remains one of the bike's strongest cards. The liquid-cooled twin runs cool in traffic. Its shaft drive requires almost no upkeep, and fuel economy stays high enough that you can ride all weekend without watching the gauge like a hawk. For retirees or daily commuters alike, that kind of dependability means freedom. Freedom from worrying about the next oil change, the next adjustment, or the next time you might get stranded on the shoulder. Older riders talk about feel, that blend of balance, feedback, and faith that keeps a man loyal to 2 wheels for decades. The Shadow Phantom carries that spirit with ease. Every control moves with mechanical certainty. The throttle answers instantly, and the clutch remains steady through endless miles. It is a motorcycle that demands respect, not attention. For many, it becomes a bridge between eras, a nod to when bikes were simple, now strengthened by engineering that smooths the ride and adds quiet safety. The anti-lock braking system intervenes gently on wet asphalt. The fuel injection starts eagerly in the cold, and the engine stays calm under summer heat. The Phantom's strength lies in restraint. It is for men who value miles over applause, who have built their stories already, and want a machine that complements them rather than competes. The power feels grounded, the comfort honest, the design stripped of vanity. Park it and you'll glance back, not for flash, but for proportion. Tank, seat, and fender stand in balance like tools forged for purpose. The hum it leaves behind is proof that simplicity still belongs on American asphalt. This is a cruiser that speaks softly but never weakly, built for riders who remember when torque meant trust. It's not here to chase headlines, but to earn them through time, reliability, and composure. At 55 miles per hour, where real riders live, the Shadow feels right, steady, certain, and proudly timeless. A machine that rewards faith with consistency and soul. And as the sun drops behind you, that low hum reminds you why you started writing in the first place. Power when you need it, calm when you don't. And the steady truth that the simplest machines often carry the deepest soul. The Phantom holds its line through every curve and through every era, proving that refinement is not weakness, it is wisdom. And while newer, faster, flashier models fight for headlines, this one quietly keeps its promise. It rides today exactly the way you remember motorcycles riding when the world made more sense. Horsepower is approximately 45. Engine size is 745 cubic centimeters. Torque measures about 47 pound-feet. The braking system includes a single front disc and a single rear disc, with an anti-lock braking system. Suspension uses a standard telescopic front fork paired with twin rear shocks. Wet weight is roughly 543 pounds. Seat height measures 25.8 inches. Starting price is $8,399. For riders who still value steel, torque, and tradition, this is the kind of motorcycle that speaks your language without saying a word. And while the next bike on this list brings more technology and more reach, the Phantom reminds us that real connection starts with simplicity that never quits. If you've been watching this far, you're clearly the kind of rider who still respects real machines and honest engineering. So before we roll into the next reveal, hit that like button and drop your thoughts below, because every rider's opinion matters when the industry starts changing this fast. Number 4. Honda Rebel 1100T DCT. Some motorcycles look for attention. Others earn respect by design. The Rebel 1100T DCT for 2026 steps into that second category. A middleweight built not for headlines, but for hard miles. It blends the attitude of a stripped-down cruiser with the confidence of a touring rig, making it one of the most balanced machines in Honda's entire lineup. For riders who still crave torque, comfort, and control without compromise, this model lands squarely between everyday usability and open road strength. The first thing an older rider will notice about the Rebel is its stance. It sits low, confident, and muscular, without trying to imitate bigger machines. That narrow waist and neutral posture make it easy to swing a leg over and find balance before the engine even turns. Once it does, the sound is rich and measured, less scream, more heartbeat. You feel that first pulse through the bars, steady as a clock, ready for long days and quiet confidence. This is not a motorcycle chasing extremes. It is a machine built for rhythm. The rhythm of back roads, small towns, and highways that stretch until daylight fades. The dual-clutch transmission, or DCT, gives older riders something worth noticing: control without fatigue. Every shift happens smoothly, precisely, and always when it should. You can ride in full automatic mode or tap between gears manually with fingertip precision. For long-distance rides or traffic-heavy commutes, it feels like a small luxury that earns its place. In profile, the Rebel stays honest. The half-fairing and small windscreen cut the breeze without hiding the frame. The hard saddlebags fit tight against the body, giving practical storage without breaking the cruiser's silhouette. Everything feels deliberate. No excess chrome, no useless trim, just the essentials. The matte finish looks timeless, and the blacked-out engine adds quiet strength to the design. It is a motorcycle that looks like work and reward all in one piece. The seat is low and wide enough to stay comfortable after an hour or after 100 miles. That matters for men who still value endurance over bragging rights. The mid-mounted controls let the knees bend naturally, and the bar height keeps posture upright without strain. On long hauls, you notice how your body relaxes, how the vibration through the frame feels filtered but alive. It is the kind of comfort that does not shout luxury. It whispers craftsmanship. Throttle response tells another story. Twist the grip, and the torque answers instantly. Not violent, not showy, just strong and steady. The kind of push that feels earned through design, not just displacement. That early pull makes city riding simple, and highway merges effortless. It's the kind of balance older riders appreciate, because it never tries to prove a point. It just delivers power, mile after mile. At highway speed, the Rebel holds steady, its windshield easing fatigue while keeping the ride alive. Suspension tuning blends firmness with grace, soaking rough pavement and keeping every lean deliberate. Braking remains composed through its dual-disc system and anti-lock braking confidence. Even parked, it stands with purpose, a middleweight proud of its honesty and reliability. Built for riders leaving sport bikes behind yet unwilling to settle for bulk, it offers excitement without exhaustion, control without clutter, and comfort without compromise. The Rebel reminds seasoned men that true refinement is balance, power earned through simplicity and endurance shaped by experience. Every element, from the subdued lighting to the clean tank badge, reflects restraint. This is a bike for those who measure rides by sunsets and not by revs. The DCT option gives freedom from clutch fatigue, especially when the wrists start to ache after decades on the road. It's a small mercy that doesn't take away the soul of the ride. By the end of a long day in the saddle, you understand what makes this motorcycle stand apart. Its honest power, delivered without noise. Its low weight and high control, wrapped in a design that won't age fast. And it's priced for riders who value substance over flash. In an age where many cruisers are getting bigger, heavier, and more expensive, this one proves refinement and simplicity can still coexist. The Rebel 1100T DCT doesn't need to make promises. It keeps them. Every gear shift, every throttle roll, every mile reminds you why torque still matters more than technology. It's a machine built for riders who grew up fixing their own bikes, who remember how engines used to sound, and who still believe a motorcycle's worth is measured in how it feels, not what it advertises. Horsepower measures around 86. Engine size is 1,084 cubic centimeters. Torque sits close to 72 pound-feet. Braking is handled by a single front disc and a single rear disc, both supported by an anti-lock braking system. Suspension features an inverted front fork with piggyback twin rear shocks. Wet weight comes in at roughly 524 pounds. Seat height measures 27.5 inches. Starting price is $11,299. For men who want a cruiser that moves like muscle and rides like memory, this one earns its spot. It stands for the next step in the balance between comfort and control, the bridge between what riding was and what it can still be. The next motorcycle on this list proves that distance, luxury, and pride can live side by side when craftsmanship does the talking. If these bikes remind you why you ride, make sure you're ready for the miles ahead. The right gear and accessories make the difference. Links are in the description. Number 3. Honda Gold Wing Bagger. Some motorcycles travel fast, others travel far. The Goldwing Bagger for 2026 was built for those who have learned that endurance is the real measure of mastery. It does not rush, it carries. It is not designed for flash or crowds, but for the long haul, the 1,000-mile thinkers, the men who watch the sunrise in one state and the sunset in another. In a world that's forgotten how to slow down, this machine reminds you that strength can still be silent and steady. One glance at the Bagger tells you everything you need to know. Broad shoulders, streamlined fairing, a low, muscular stance that promises distance without boasting about speed. It sits low enough to look grounded and wide enough to command attention. You can walk around it once and feel the same quiet authority that used to define full-dress touring machines back when riders valued endurance more than entertainment. When the engine wakes, it does not roar, it resonates. The flat six hums like precision itself, balanced and calm, sending a deep, even pulse through the bars. No shake, no rattle, just smooth, confident torque that builds instead of bursts. Twist the throttle and the response is instant but civilized, the kind of power that moves a heavy frame like it weighs nothing. It feels less like a motorcycle asking to be tamed and more like an old friend ready to carry your intent across the map. On the open highway, the bagger becomes something different. It glides rather than rides, cutting through crosswinds that would toss smaller bikes aside. That double wishbone suspension keeps the front end level, letting you track through sweepers with car-like stability. The ProLink rear system follows the terrain without complaint, absorbing long stretches of cracked pavement without beating your spine into submission. For men who have spent years on hardtail setups, this smoothness feels like wisdom finally earned. Comfort is not a luxury here. It's a design philosophy. The seat cradles you low in the frame, wide enough for long runs but narrow where it matters, letting you plant both boots at every stop. The bars rise just enough to open your chest, keeping fatigue low after hours of wind. The foot pegs are positioned for balance, giving you control without pressure on your knees. After a full day in the saddle, you step off with energy left in your shoulders. That's the difference between surviving a ride and enjoying one. The bagger moves with calm precision, its dual front discs and anti-lock braking system ensuring steady control. Sharper lines replace chrome clutter, while technology stays quiet and useful. On the highway, wind fades, balance steadies, and the flat six hums like trust itself. At dusk, its lights carve forward through silence, carrying riders beyond distraction, proof that endurance, grace, and purpose still define the open road. The Goldwing bagger stands as a bridge between generations of riders. It respects the old ideals of strength, simplicity, and mechanical honesty. Yet it brings a refinement that makes those ideals sustainable for the years ahead. It's a motorcycle that lets you ride harder, longer, and calmer without sacrificing identity. Horsepower comes in around 125. Engine size is 1,833 cubic centimeters. Torque measures about 125 pound-feet. Braking is provided by dual front discs and a single rear disc supported by an anti-lock braking system. Suspension uses a double wishbone front setup paired with a ProLink rear shock. Wet weight stands at roughly 804 pounds. Seat height measures 28.3 inches. Starting price is $24,999. For men who believe in torque, in balance, in the weight of real machines, this one delivers all of it. No apologies, no gimmicks. It's not trying to outshine anyone. It's trying to outlast everyone. And it just might. The next bike on this list takes that foundation of endurance and lifts it higher, showing what happens when comfort and command reach their final form. Number 2. Honda Valkyrie. Some motorcycles exist to turn heads. Others exist to turn miles into memories. The Valkyrie for 2026 does both, with a confidence that few machines dare to show. It's the kind of motorcycle that doesn't need hype. It announces itself with presence. Wide stance, exposed muscle, and a sound that feels like authority on demand. Honda brought the Valkyrie back not to chase trends, but to remind the road what dignity and raw engineering still feel like when stripped of compromise. This motorcycle doesn't ask for comparison. It stands apart. You notice it before it moves. The broad frame, muscular engine cases, and sculpted tank lines evoke a timeless kind of strength. Honda didn't build the Valkyrie to be flashy. They built it to remind riders that simplicity and power are still capable of speaking louder than chrome. Every inch of its bodywork serves a purpose. No excess, no wasted motion, just steel, torque, and balance built to last decades. Once the engine fires, it doesn't roar, it commands. The flat six power plant hums with quiet certainty, then rolls into motion with torque that feels bottomless. The throttle responds instantly, and the six-speed transmission delivers that surge in smooth, deliberate layers. Each gear feels connected, every shift clean. At highway speed, the Valkyrie rides with poise more than aggression. You don't fight the wind, you ride through it, guided by weight perfectly centered beneath you. Comfort is woven into the design, not added as an afterthought. The saddle rests low and wide, giving older riders a secure, flat-foot stance at stops. The handlebars sweep naturally toward the shoulders, easing wrist strain on long rides. Suspension geometry allows the front to glide over uneven pavement, while the rear keeps its composure through high-speed turns. It's control without stiffness, comfort without softness. That balance defines the Valkyrie's entire identity. The braking system reinforces that confidence. Dual discs up front and a single rear disc respond with predictability, not drama. The anti-lock braking system operates in silence, stepping in only when the road turns unpredictable. It's a setup older riders trust immediately because it never intrudes. It simply ensures the machine obeys intention rather than panic. The result is reassurance that doesn't advertise itself. Aesthetically, this bike represents quiet rebellion. Gone is the excess chrome of older generations. In its place are muted metallics, satin finishes, and lines that suggest speed even at rest. The Valkyrie looks powerful without screaming for it. The sculpted tank flows into the seat and rear fender in one seamless motion, like a single stroke drawn from steel. The twin exhausts sit low, producing a deep growl that rolls instead of barks. Even parked outside a diner at dawn, it radiates the kind of calm menace that earns respect without effort. The cockpit speaks to maturity. A minimal digital display delivers only what matters: speed, fuel, and range. The switches and controls feel mechanical, not plastic. There's no overload of unnecessary tech, just precision where it counts. Riders who remember analog dials and clean wiring will feel at home here. Everything is accessible, tactile, and free from distraction. On the open highway, the Valkyrie comes alive in a way few bikes can match. It holds a steady line through crosswinds, corners with certainty, and glides through long stretches of asphalt as if pulled by momentum alone. You can feel the flat six heartbeat through the bars, steady, unhurried, relentless. It's the kind of motorcycle that rewards discipline, not recklessness. Every movement feels deliberate, like it was built for men who understand patience behind the throttle. For those who ride two up, the Valkyrie doesn't forget the passenger. The rear perch is contoured for comfort, with subtle elevation for better visibility and stability. The rear suspension absorbs impact before it reaches the rider, and the frame balance keeps the handling steady even with full weight on board. It's a touring experience hidden inside a power cruiser's silhouette. Older riders will recognize the soul that runs beneath this machine. It's part muscle cruiser, part gentleman's express. The Valkyrie carries legacy in its veins, the echo of the original flat six power and the quiet pride of craftsmanship. It's a motorcycle that asks to be ridden, not polished. You don't need to prove anything when you're on one. The ride itself does the talking. Every detail honors restraint. From the brushed metal badging to the tucked exhaust tips, it's built for riders who've learned that confidence doesn't require decoration. The Valkyrie isn't facing luxury or nostalgia. It's creating something rarer, permanence. The kind of motorcycle that will look just as right 10 years from now as it does today. When you finally park it after a long day's ride, you'll feel something few bikes deliver anymore: clarity. The sound fades, the heat settles, and what's left is satisfaction. No flash, no fatigue, no noise. Just proof that power and purpose still belong together. The Valkyrie is more than a motorcycle. It's a reminder of what happens when engineering respects the rider instead of replacing him. And while Honda's other new models redefine comfort, technology, and distance, none carry the same gravity as this one. Because the Valkyrie doesn't chase progress, it defines it, one deliberate mile at a time. The next motorcycle on this list takes that power and refinement and stretches it across a new frontier, proving that performance and prestige can share the same highway. Horsepower measures roughly 125. Engine size is 1,833 cubic centimeters. Torque peaks near 124 pound-feet. Braking uses dual front discs and a single rear disc supported by an anti-lock braking system. Suspension features a double wishbone front setup with a Pro-Link rear shock tuned for precision and weight balance. Wet weight stands around 780 pounds. Seat height measures 28.3 inches. Starting price begins at $24,999. If the future of motorcycling matters to you as much as its past, don't just watch. Stay part of the ride. Hit subscribe and join thousands of riders who refuse to let legacy fade quietly. The next countdown dives even deeper into what's coming, and you'll want to be ready. Number 1. Honda Goldwing Tour Airbag DCT. Every generation of riders meets a machine that feels like the end of a long road and the beginning of another. The Goldwing Tour Airbag DCT for 2026 is that machine. It stands as a culmination of everything distance riding has learned: the weight of heritage, the comfort of refinement, and the safety born of experience. For men who have crossed too many state lines to count, this motorcycle answers the question of what touring looks like when nothing is left to prove. This is the flagship, the statement piece for riders who have spent decades trusting torque more than talk. The first touch of the ignition brings a quiet confidence. The flat-six engine starts with a low murmur, smooth and balanced, as if aware of the responsibility it carries. Every rotation feels deliberate, every response tuned for precision rather than flair. Twist the throttle and the torque builds steadily, commanding rather than asking, powerful enough to haul two riders full gear and still feel effortless. The DCT, dual clutch transmission, turns the engine's output into fluid motion. Each gear change is instant and almost invisible, removing the lag that wears on a rider over long hours. For older riders, this is more than convenience, it's endurance. The transmission allows manual control through paddle shifters or smooth automatic operation when you'd rather focus on the view ahead. It makes fatigue optional without dulling the experience of control. Safety sits at the heart of this flagship, and the integrated airbag system remains its quiet triumph. It's not decoration or novelty, it's purpose. For those who've ridden long enough to know how unpredictable the road can be, that technology stands as a testament to progress that respects the past. It's not about fear, it's about preparation. It turns risk into responsibility without asking riders to compromise the freedom that defines them. The Tour Airbag DCT defines highway mastery with sculpted comfort, double wishbone control, and braking that feels instinctive. Its sleek design trades chrome for precision, while the cockpit blends analog clarity with quiet power. Every mile feels effortless. Wind muted, motion smooth, trust absolute. At 70 miles per hour or sunset calm, it carries riders with dignity, proving progress and tradition still share the same enduring road. The Goldwing Tour Airbag DCT represents that rare place where engineering meets emotion. It carries the muscle of a long-haul cruiser and the heart of a craftsman's promise. It's not about speed, it's about time. Time spent, time remembered, and time well used. When the journey ends, and you park it under fading light, the engine's quiet tick fades like an echo of every mile you've earned. Horsepower measures around 125. Engine size is 1,833 cubic centimeters. Torque sits near 125 pound-feet. Braking uses dual front discs and a single rear disc paired with an anti-lock braking system. Suspension features a double wishbone front design and a Pro-Link rear shock with advanced damping control. Wet weight is roughly 860 pounds. Seat height measures 29.3 inches. Starting price is $32,999. For the men who built their lives on the open road, who have carried weight, pride, and purpose across every kind of weather, this machine feels like a handshake between generations. It's the proof that motorcycles can evolve without losing their soul. The Goldwing Tour Airbag DCT stands as the modern standard for long-distance riding. Unapologetically refined, profoundly capable, and deeply human. It reminds every rider that legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's what still carries you forward. So, what do you think? Did Honda just evolve, or did it erase its own legacy? 5 machines, 5 statements, and one undeniable truth. The motorcycle world will never look the same after 2026. Maybe this is rebellion, maybe it's renewal. Either way, it's the moment every rider will remember. If you've ever believed simplicity still has a soul, or that progress can have respect, this lineup just proved both can ride together. Drop your thoughts below, hit subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next chapter in this revolution is already being written.